102 Street. Fall, head injury.
If you ever called 911 in Lubbock in the last 43 years, you might have heard the voice of Ed Peacher. And certainly, if you had a police scanner in Lubbock, you heard his voice. It would be difficult to not recognize.
Dispatch, digit 14, don't see. Copy 14, 1622. Copy 14, on scene. Duly noted, Captain.
Peacher started with Lubbock Police in 1977. Lubbock was a different place back then.
When I thought of Lubbock in 77, I still thought of Lubbock in the view of an agricultural town. I don't know why I thought that, but pretty much everything in those years was agricultural. It was an agricultural base.
The modern dispatch center looks something like the Starship Enterprise with all its computers and tracking equipment. Not so in 1977.
Well, in 77, we did not have the computers. The computers came later. In 77, they trained us to use our mind to keep track of our units.
Somewhere around 1997, Peacher made the switch from police to fire. Mostly he worked the midnight shift. Peacher got something of a reputation with firefighters. Mostly good, yes, mostly good. But even Peacher admits maybe he was a little too enthusiastic to call out units in the middle of the night.
That's one thing I've been harassed about faithfully since my early years with the fire service, waking people up with a tone of excitement and joy. I went from a job where we were always on the go to a job where off and on we went places. But generally during the night, it was quiet. So when one fire call came in, I was ramped, I was ready to do my job. I was keyed up.
Lubbock firefighters no longer use 10 codes on the radio, but back in the day, 10-8 meant that the fire truck or the fire engine was ready to go back in service. One day a fire unit called in 10-ED instead of 10-8.
And I'm going, what did he say? Engine 1, would you say it again? Engine 1 is 10-ED. Okay, and that spread like wildfire. All three shifts, battalion chiefs, or in those days were called district chiefs, were using the 10-ED syndrome. Okay, it was great.
And instead of calling him dispatcher, sometimes firefighters would call him dispeacher. There were other names for the man who, with such joy, woke up firefighters in the middle of the night. Use your imagination.
15, dispatch, engine 1-5 is in service. We're now engine 7, 1848.
Peacher lost his right leg to bone cancer at the age of 10. He punched back, literally, taking up boxing. He would stand on an artificial leg. And while some boxers felt timid about hitting a one-legged man, Peacher disabused them of that notion pretty quickly.
I was recognized as an opponent. You know, I mean, I did hear from individuals that were honest, wherein they would say, before we put the gloves on, I really felt bad about hitting you. And I'm thinking, okay. But he says, or that they all said, but after you hit me a couple of times, I thought, to hell with that one leg. So boxing was a joy.
He also dispatches the good news of the gospel in an email newsletter called Spiritual Uplift. It goes to 450 or so people, including some in other countries. What does Peacher want as his lasting impact on the dispatch centers of Lubbock?
Remember those you govern on the radio. Remember that they are flesh and body, that you are the life link to get them the help that they need. Even when it's a safe situation, anything can go wrong. And those officers, those firefighters, we are their protectors. Don't ever, ever lose sight of that.
Monday, October 5th, was Ed Peacher's last day on the radio. The dispeacher is retired. That is to say, he is 10-ED for now. With EverythingLubbock.com, I'm James Clark.